Thursday, February 12, 2026, AGNDD IntelliReport topic. Bud Cort, who starred in 1971's Harold and Maude, dies at 77. Please pardon any visual and informational inaccuracies in this partially AI-generated article-based video. Bud Cort, who starred in 1971's Harold and Maude, dies at 77. The role, one of his first, made him a household name and a film idol of the anti-establishment 1970s. But it also limited his growth as an actor. By Clay Rezin, The New York Times, February 11, 2026. Bud Cort, a veteran stage and screen actor whose best-known role was one of his first, playing a death-obsessed 19-year-old recluse named Harold, opposite Ruth Gordon's 79-year-old happy-go-lucky Holocaust survivor named Maude in the 1971 off-kilter romantic comedy Harold and Maude, died on Wednesday in Norwalk, Con. He was 77. A representative for his family said that the death, at an assisted living facility, was from complications from pneumonia. Mr. Cort appeared in more than 40 movies, dozens of TV shows, and countless theater productions. But even late in life, he was often recognized on the street for a single role, that of Harold Chasen, a precocious, morose, rich teenager who falls into friendship and then love with Maude Chardin, who lives in an abandoned railroad car and is old enough to be his grandmother. The film, directed by Hal Ashby, is by turns humorous, touching, and melancholic. Late in the film, Harold sees a tattoo on Maude's arm, left over from her time in a Nazi concentration camp. Though initially a critical and commercial flop, Variety said that it has all the fun and gaiety of a burning orphanage. Through the 1970s, it developed a cult following, especially on college campuses, where its quirky anti-establishment sensibility hit home in the post-hippie era. Today, it is widely considered one of the best films of the 1970s. In 2007, the American Film Institute ranked it number 9 in its list of best romantic comedies. Mr. Cort got his first break a few years before Harold and Maude, when the director Robert Altman saw him doing stand-up comedy in Manhattan and cast him in a small part in his 1970 Korean War comedy M*A*S*H. Mr. Altman liked Mr. Cort's acting enough that he immediately gave him the title role in his next film, Brewster McCloud, which came out later that same year. In that movie, which also starred Shelley Duvall, Mr. Cort played a flight-obsessed boy who lives in a shelter under the Houston Astrodome and becomes a suspect in a series of bird-dropping-related deaths. The film did poorly among critics and moviegoers, but it caught the attention of Mr. Ashby, who was casting for his upcoming film about an extremely dark May-December romance between a similarly introverted young man and a much, much older woman. Mr. Cort was 21 when he played the part of Harold with wry confidence. Many of his most memorable moments, like a fourth-wall-breaking smile into the camera, were his idea. But the film that made him famous also made him something of an outcast. He fought with the studio Paramount over edits, leading it to exclude him from much of the film's publicity. He was later typecast as a character actor and offered only offbeat roles when he believed he deserved to play the lead. He said that Milos Forman considered him for a supporting part in his 1975 film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but that he lost his chance when he insisted that he get the lead. That part, Randall McMurphy, went to Jack Nicholson, who won an Oscar. By his own account, Mr. Cort spent much of the 1970s depressed and out of film work, getting by with stage roles. For a time, he lived in the guest cottage at the Los Angeles home of Groucho Marx, with whom he became close friends. When Mr. Marx lost a tooth, he gave it to Mr. Cort as a gift. Mr. Cort had bit parts in several movies, including Pumping Iron, 1977, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, from which his only scene was ultimately cut. In 1979, he played the lead in Son of Hitler, about an illiterate woodworker who is thought to be the son of the Nazi dictator. It did not do well at the box office. That same year, Mr. Cort was in a car accident that left him with broken bones and a disfigured face. Much of the money he had earned from acting went to plastic surgeries. He was back to acting by the mid-1980s, but mostly in single episodes in TV series like Columbo, a reboot of The Twilight Zone, and the comedy drama Ugly Betty. He also had minor parts in movies like the crime thriller Heat, 1995, which starred Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and the Bill Murray comedy The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, 2004. Part of what held him back, Mr. Cort said, was his emotional attachment to his work and his willingness to fight directors, producers, and writers over every detail of his performance. He especially disliked critics who gave him negative reviews. After an interviewer for the Boston Globe told him to his face that he didn't like his 1977 film Why Shoot the Teacher, a comedy drama set during the Depression, Mr. Cort got up to leave. "I don't want to talk to anyone who didn't love the movie," Mr. Cort said. "I can't believe that I opened up my personal life to you, and then you tell me you didn't like this wonderful movie." The reporter, who wrote about the encounter anyway, asked Mr. Cort if he couldn't separate his personal and professional lives. "It's the same thing," he replied. Walter Edward Cox was born on March 29, 1948, in Rye, New York. His parents were in the entertainment business. His father, Joseph, was the leader of a big band, the Joe Cox Orchestra, and his mother, Alma Cort Cox, worked as a publicist for Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios, a job that involved hosting stars like Clark Gable and Judy Garland whenever they came to New York. By high school, Mr. Cort said he knew he wanted to act. He skipped classes to venture into Manhattan to catch matinees, and after graduation, he enrolled at New York University to give him a base for auditions. He had small roles in the movies Up the Down Staircase, 1967, the high school drama starring Sandy Dennis, and Sweet Charity, the 1969 musical with Shirley MacLaine. Eventually, he left college and began doing stand-up comedy. He chose his stage name to avoid confusion with the television star Wally Cox. Mr. Cort is survived by a brother, Joseph, and three sisters, Carrie Cox, Tracy Cox Berkman, and Shelley Cox Dufour. Mr. Cort maintained a love-hate relationship with the film that had made him a household name long after it entered the cinematic pantheon. One of the biggest problems, he told the New York Times in 2000, were all the Harold Chasen groupies. "Everyone assumed I was that person," he said. "I've been through the whole thing of being followed around. People used to come to my hotel and leave tombstones and pictures of dead babies. I try to talk to them, tell them they missed the point of the movie." Clay Rizin is a Times reporter on the obituaries desk. Comments. Andy Marks, Beverly Hills, 9 hours ago. Nice obituary, although there was no guest cottage at the home of my grandfather Groucho. Bud actually moved into one of the bedrooms in the house that had previously been occupied by Groucho's daughter Melinda until she moved out. I remember many nice meals with my grandfather and Bud while he was living there. Nancan, Bel Air, Florida, 10 hours ago. This saddens me. I miss the days of fine independent films and quirky actors like Bud Cort. He and Ruth Gordon were perfectly cast. What a great film to leave as a legacy. Ron, Arizona, 10 hours ago. Bud was my friend. Even though time and distance have kept us separate, we had some great laughs. We both had to eulogize a friend who passed, and Bud showed up in a black latex raincoat with tulips in the church and broke the crowd up. He allowed me to call him Harold, even though he hated it. R.I.P. Harold, and thank you for all the laughs. Gina Auerstedt, Ukiah, California, 10 hours ago. Ironically, though he lived a good, long life, Mr. Cort didn't make it quite as long as his erstwhile love interest in Harold and Maude. But now he and she are reunited, if such things really happen. And I like to imagine them peeling down a highway in Harold's black Jaguar hearse, celestial police officers on motorcycles perpetually in pursuit but never catching them. Though Harold and Maude was his signature film, your obituary rightly highlighted another delightful film Mr. Cort appeared in, Why Shoot the Teacher, 1977, where he co-starred with Samantha Eggar, whom we also recently lost. It's a quieter take than Harold, with his multiple fake suicide attempts, but it's a memorable slice-of-life period piece that also deserves to be better well known. So long, Harold. This time you finally made it. See? Maryland? 10 hours ago. One of my favorite movies ever is Harold and Maude. Those two were the best love story. I still quote lines from this film, and the best soundtrack, too. S.A. Griffin, Los Angeles. 10 hours ago, a sad day. I cannot count the many, many times my college girlfriend and I saw Harold and Maude at the movies back in the 70s. A lot of people enjoy being dead, but they are not dead, really. They're just backing away from life. Harold, Flights of Angels. Trouble, oh trouble set me free. Stinson Beach, California. 0.10 hours ago. Harold and Maude found me at a deep, dark place in the early days of my life. Bud's stellar performance made me perfectly identify with Harold's character, and the evolution of his soul pulled me out of that abyss. So thank you, Bud, and I hope to be able to thank you on the other side one day. Full on, Amherst, NY, 10 hours ago. Sat in the Harvard Square Theater in Cambridge, MA so many times I can't count, watching this iconic and lovely film with 12 other people. E pluribus unum, Centerville, 9 hours ago. I missed this when it came out. About 5 years later, I was walking through the dorm lobby when a girl named Libby checks the weekly film listing and leaps into the air shrieking Harold and Maude 6 times. I thought, I need to watch this movie. My late wife, then mired in a failing marriage with a husband who was disappear for weeks at a time and had her feeling suicidal when she discovered Harold and Maude, it became for her, despite its morbid trappings, a life-affirming lifeline for her and her soon-to-be fatherless kids. I believe many others could tell similar stories about its impact on their lives. Rest in peace, Ruth Gordon and Bud Cort, who was perfect in the role. A pity he didn't retain his skill at bailing out of doomed vehicles before impact and of cheating death. Also, on behalf of everyone who dreamed of owning Harold's Jaguar XKE hearse, only to see it launch off a California ocean cliff and land inverted 100 feet below to his irreplaceable Jaguar. We may cheat the Undertaker or the Wrecker or, like Maude, Himmler's ovens for a time, but Maude's real message was to live life fully. Stefan Wilhelm, Lofer, Austria, 9 hours ago. I loved this movie. I missed the 1970's. John Winterhouse, Isle of Skye, 8 hours ago. I remember going out to see a film and it began to rain. The film I wanted to see was sold out, and wanting to stay out of the rain, buying a ticket to see Harold and Maude. I found it so enchanting that I stayed on for the next showing. Always wanted to live in passenger train car. The scene where Harold's mother is filling out the personality questionnaire while Harold attempts various forms of suicide is as funny as it ever gets. Perfect casting, as you did not even think they were acting. Mikey, St. Paul, MN, 9H ago. Harold and Maude was one of my late mother's favorite movies. We saw it multiple times at the now-defunct Westgate Theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Harold and Maude played at the Westgate for 115 weeks straight. It was a true cult classic. My mother passed away many years ago. The Westgate closed, was turned into a dry cleaners and then demolished for apartments. But I still have my memories. Mountain Muscle, LVNV, 9 hours ago. I heard about a movie filmed in my hometown of Santa Cruz, Calif, so knowing nothing about it, wandered into a theater and walked out an hour and a half later. In shock, I was so affected. Fast forward, at a party a few years later, I went out on the deck of a house overlooking the ocean in Laguna Beach to get some fresh air, and some guy offered me a hit of a joint, and it was Bud Cort. I didn't gush or anything, or even tell him that H&M was one of my all-time favorites. We just enjoyed the moon over the Pacific and got high together. On Dean HD, Cleveland, Ohio, 10 hours ago. I saw Harold and Maude in my late teens, and then again a couple of times later in life. It is a classic, a movie that survives the test of time and that will never age. It gets better with every subsequent viewing, and the actors are fantastic, all of them. After attending so many funerals in the movie, your turn to depart, as for us all, has come. R.I.P. MJN, May, 10H ago. If you want to sing out, sing out. If you want to be free, be free. I hope Bud was proud of the work he did. R.I.P.
Thank you for watching this AGNDD Intelli Report, dear viewers. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell button to get notified during new uploads. And make sure to tune in next time. Stay safe and healthy. Cheers!